Hidden beneath Madrid's royal palace, inside a private crypt decorated with silver and red velvet, lies one of Europe's most unusual royal stories. It's not about lost gold, ancient relics, or sacred remains. This one is deeply personal. For over 200 years, people have whispered about what happened after King Ferdinand VII of Spain died in 1833. According to long-standing rumor, a specific part of his body, his male reproductive organ, was removed and preserved in a jar of alcohol. It's a strange and uncomfortable tale that's lingered in royal gossip and unofficial records. But is there any truth to it? And if so, why would this king be remembered not for his leadership or policies, but for something so private? To understand how this story took root, you have to look at Ferdinand's life, a reign marked by controversy, distrust, and personal scandal. Born in 1784 to King Charles IV and Queen Maria Luisa, Ferdinand came into power during a low point in Spain's history. The once great empire had lost most of its colonies, its navy had been crushed by the British, and the economy was falling apart. At the same time, France, first revolutionary, then under Napoleon, was pressing in hard on Spanish territory. From an early age, Ferdinand built a reputation for being untrustworthy and self-serving. Even before he became king, he plotted against his own father, secretly asking Napoleon for help in taking the throne. In 1808, he got his wish, but just 2 months after becoming king, he gave it all up. Napoleon called both Ferdinand and his father to a meeting in France and persuaded Ferdinand to give up the crown in favor of Napoleon's brother, Joseph. In return, Ferdinand was promised a royal allowance and a home in France. While Spaniards fought for their freedom in a long and bloody war, Ferdinand lived comfortably in France, hosting dinners, playing music, and enjoying the high life. Many saw this as a major betrayal. While rebels died defending their country, their king was living well as a guest of the enemy. During this time, foreign diplomats and members of Napoleon's court started circulating rumors. Some hinted that Ferdinand wasn't just politically weak, but physically frail too. There was speculation he might be unable to have children, a topic that became even more public in the years ahead. When Ferdinand returned to Spain in 1814 after Napoleon's fall, the people welcomed him with excitement, hoping he'd restore stability. But instead, he quickly repealed the progressive 1812 Constitution, punished those who had defended Spain's independence, and reinstated harsh royal rule. It was a letdown that shaped how many viewed his reign. His personal life brought more headlines. He married 4 times, and each marriage was followed by gossip about his health and whether he could father children. His first wife died young and childless, with palace rumors suggesting the marriage was never consummated. His second wife, a respected Portuguese princess, also died without having children. His third wife tried everything available at the time to get pregnant: doctors, prayers, pilgrimages, but still no heir came. As the years passed, Ferdinand's reputation suffered. Jokes and pamphlets made fun of his private life. Foreign diplomats wrote about him in increasingly blunt terms. Whispers turned into sharp rumors. Some said he had a medical condition. Others speculated about deformities or illness. It's in this environment that the strange legend of the preserved body part emerged. True or not, the story reflected how Ferdinand was viewed. Less as a strong ruler, more as a symbol of a troubled kingdom, both politically and personally. By 1829, things had reached a low point for King Ferdinand. His third wife, Maria Josepha, had passed away, and at 45, with no children, pressure was mounting. The royal council pushed him to marry again, this time to Maria Cristina of the Two Sicilies, who was not only much younger but also his niece. It was a last-ditch effort to secure an heir and salvage his public image. To everyone's surprise, Maria Cristina became pregnant soon after the wedding. In 1830, she gave birth to Princess Isabella. 2 years later, another daughter, Princess Luisa Fernanda, was born. After 3 marriages without children, Ferdinand finally had a family. But even this success stirred fresh doubt. Instead of ending the gossip, it fueled new rumors. Some claimed the daughters weren't truly his. Others said medical treatments or prayers had finally worked. The harshest claims hinted at artificial methods, an idea that would have been scandalous at the time, but shows how far public trust in the king had eroded. In his final years, Ferdinand's image took another hit. His health got worse. Gout, digestive issues, and weight gain left him better than much of the time. His mood became erratic. He swung between deep sadness and furious outbursts that unsettled everyone around him. He also became more fixated on his own manhood and ability to father more children. Reports from royal doctors mention constant consultations and requests for treatments to boost his strength and sexual function. He tried every remedy he could find, elixirs, powders, and rare herbs. Many brought him from faraway places. His fear wasn't just personal. He believed any criticism of his rule was also a challenge to his manhood, and he responded with an intensity that startled even his allies. By September 1833, Ferdinand was seriously ill. He suffered from severe gout, kidney trouble, and what we would now likely recognize as advanced diabetes. For months, he drifted in and out of delirium, but he knew he was close to the end. It was during this final stretch that, according to later accounts, Ferdinand gave a shocking instruction. Obsessed to the very end with proving his manhood and legacy, he supposedly ordered that a part of his body, his genital organ, be preserved after death. The reason? To show he was, in his view, still a virile king, even in death. After his death on September 29th, 1833, the usual embalming process began. This involved removing internal organs and treating the body for the funeral. That's when, according to the story, the unusual event took place. Some accounts claim that by the king's request, or possibly at someone else's instruction. This one body part was removed and placed in a glass jar filled with alcohol. It was said to be quietly stored away in the royal family's private archives as a symbol of his masculinity. The first mention of this story didn't appear until decades later. In the late 1800s, Spanish writer Benito Pérez Galdós made a subtle reference to it in his historical novels. Other authors, like Ramón de Mezanero Romanos, hinted at similar events in their writings about life in the royal court. The tale gained more attention when French author Alexandre Dumas, known for his colorful travel memoirs, claimed he heard about a strange royal relic kept in the Madrid palace. A Spanish noble reportedly told him it was a last trophy of Spain's Bourbon dynasty, clearly referring to a preserved organ. Throughout the 20th century, the story continued to circulate. Writers like Gerald Brennan mentioned hearing the tale while living in Spain. Foreign journalists covering the royal family often brought it up in their stories, adding to its mystique. Whether the story is true or not is impossible to say for sure, but what matters more is what it reveals. The fact that this rumor has lasted so long says something about how people saw Ferdinand, and about Spain's struggles with monarchy, power, and legacy during that era. In the end, Ferdinand VII spent much of his reign battling doubts about his leadership and his ability to produce heirs. This strange legend, true or not, became the final echo of those doubts, preserved not just in glass, but in history itself. The idea that King Ferdinand VII might have tried to prove his masculinity even in death by preserving a specific body part fits uncomfortably well with his known obsessions. It reflects the attitudes of a time when a king's personal image was directly tied to his ability to produce heirs. In that world, infertility wasn't just a private matter. It was a threat to the monarchy itself. If the legend is true, the decision to preserve that part of his body may have been a desperate attempt to show strength in the face of doubt. But it also says something about the era's views on leadership and masculinity. For many in 19th century Spain, the ability to father children was seen as proof of a king's legitimacy. And yet, this story isn't just about the king's legacy. It's about how people process their feelings about him. After years of harsh rule, many Spaniards use a rumor as a kind of posthumous mockery. The very part of the king most questioned in life became the focus of bizarre and humiliating tale and death. It was, in its own strange way, a form of public payback. Historically, no evidence has been found to confirm the story. No document, record, or royal inventory lists such a preserved item, even during moments of political upheaval in the 20th century, when royal secrets were sometimes exposed. Nothing about this alleged relic came to light. Scholars with access to palace archives have never uncovered proof. None of Ferdinand's successors ever acknowledged it either. But the lack of hard evidence hasn't stopped the legend from spreading. In fact, the mystery may be part of its power. Like many rumors, the inability to confirm or deny it only adds to its allure. Over time, the tale grew larger than history. During the Spanish Civil War and the Franco era, the story took on new meaning. Critics of the monarchy used it to highlight royal excess and absurdity, while defenders tried to bury it. Franco, who also valued strong displays of authority, reportedly despised the legend and wanted it erased from historical record. Ironically, the story gained new life after Franco's rule ended. With censorship lifted, historians, writers, and filmmakers revisited the story. It appeared in books, documentaries, and pop culture, becoming part of Spain's collective memory. In today's world, the idea of a king so obsessed with virility that he might preserve a body part seems not just strange, but deeply troubling. The legend shifts our view of Ferdinand from a tragic ruler to something closer to a cautionary tale. Seen through a psychological lens, the story says a lot about the dangers of unchecked power. Ferdinand's personal fears became matters of national importance. His concern about his own masculinity didn't just shape his private life, it influenced public policy and foreign affairs. Unlike his contemporary, King Louis XVIII of France, who managed rumors with calm and dignity, Ferdinand let insecurity drive his actions. Where Louis was respected for his mind, Ferdinand was remembered for betrayal and paranoia. This story also highlights the deep changes taking place in 19th century Europe. Monarchies were struggling to stay relevant as the world modernized around them. Ferdinand's obsession with proving his manhood shows how powerless he felt in the face of that change. Strangely enough, the legend may have achieved what Ferdinand's actual rule never could. It made him unforgettable. Most people don't remember his policies or decisions, but nearly anyone who reads about Spanish history comes across this story. The irony is brutal. A king desperate to shape his legacy became known for a humiliating rumor instead. Today, nearly 2 centuries after his death, the tale still floats through books, online forums, and documentaries. It's become part of Europe's royal folklore, alongside stories like the madness of George III or the bleeding disorders of the Romanovs. Whether or not the jar ever existed may never be known. The royal archives remain tight-lipped, and much of what might have proven or disproven the tale has likely been lost. But at this point, the truth almost matters less than what the story represents. The legend of the preserved king is really about power, pride, and how legacy can twist in unexpected ways. Ferdinand VII spent his life trying to prove his worth. In the end, he became a historical figure known not for victories or reforms, but for a story that turned his deepest fears into the one thing history never forgot. He wanted to be remembered as a strong, absolute ruler. Instead, he became the monarch mocked for the very thing he tried hardest to prove. Whether the jar existed or not, his reputation became defined by insecurity, not strength. And that's the lasting message. History always finds a way to show who people truly were, long after the pomp and pageantry have faded.